Hey y'all, today we're going to be discussing a topic about which I am passionate: full coverage underwear. I am on the search for the best full coverage underwear because I want to be comfortable in my underwear. And because of the way that my posterior is shaped, most styles of underwear that are popular right now, most of what's on the market, it's just like all the fabric that's back there rides up and bunches together. And I feel like if it's all bunched together, you might as well be wearing a thong because it's more comfortable if there's just a little bit of fabric than like a whole bunch of fabric. And I do sometimes wear thongs, but I don't want to wear thongs exclusively. So I need a second option, and I need it to be underwear that covers the entire cheek and stays there and doesn't ride up. And I also need it to be relatively high-waisted because I have a very long waist. So I've tried 5 brands so far, and I'm going to be reviewing each one of those brands for you today. If this is your first time to my channel, then welcome. I'm so glad you're here. My name is Hannah. I really love beautiful things, and I like paying attention to trends in fashion and beauty, and also what's timelessly wonderful in fashion and beauty. I review some makeup products. I sometimes review garments. I also really like using what I have. I don't want to have too much stuff. I'm focused on quality over quantity in my own collection of beautiful things, and I make content about that too. If all of that sounds good to you, I really hope that you'll subscribe, and let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I feel like underwear occupies kind of an interesting position for somebody who wants fewer, nicer things, but is shopping on a budget. First of all, it can't really be secondhand, right? Usually when I'm shopping for clothes, I go straight to the secondhand market. It's usually the most budget-friendly way to buy something, especially something beautiful. And it's also the most eco-friendly way to buy something. But with underwear, I'm going to be putting it like right up against my mucous membranes. So I want to buy it new. And then I'm hoping that it's going to be something that lasts a long time so I can get a lot of use out of it. Buying underwear that's going to last a long time, if you have to buy it new, that's the most sustainable choice. But I also know that I'm eventually going to wear it out and have to replace it. So because I'm on a budget, don't want it to be too expensive. And on top of all of that, I want it to be comfortable, and I also want it to be cute, because even though what I really care about in terms of looking for the best full coverage underwear is comfort, ideally it's something that I feel good wearing, both because it's comfortable and because I feel cute in it. So we're trying to check all of those boxes here. I'm going to put my relevant measurements in inches in the description box down below, like my hips, waist, thigh, etc. So if you're serious about shopping for underwear, if you're really serious about buying any of these and you want as much information as possible, you can look at my measurements and listen to what I say, and then take your own measurements and extrapolate from what I say and hopefully get as much information as possible. What I'll say here on camera is that I'm a straight size medium in bottoms and underwear. If it's numerical, I'm usually like between a 6 and an 8. Sometimes I take a 6, sometimes I take an 8. But if something's sized extra small, small, medium, large, extra large, XXL, etc., I'm almost always a medium. I mean, I would even go so far as to say that I'm always a medium. The thing is for me that I have a really long waist, like the distance from my crotch to my belly button. That area on me, that space, is really elongated compared to most people. I'm like on the extreme end. So even when I'm just shopping for pants, jeans, anything, to get a normal fit, I need something that's considered high rise. So all of this underwear here is considered high rise. I'm really glad that it's come back into fashion to make high rise bottoms, because otherwise I would really be out to dry. And the first brand that we're talking about, the underwear is really high-waisted, and it's kind of high cut on the sides and a little bit too high cut for me in the back, which makes it look really tall and skinny. So you can see that this would be ideal for someone with a really long waist, which is what I have. And indeed, this underwear comes up all the way to my belly button. This is by the brand Knickey. So Knickey is a small, sustainable brand. They use organic cotton. They have great supply chain transparency, and they're ecologically responsible. It's like the best that you could hope for if you're having to buy something that's been newly manufactured. I really like that about them. I also find the cotton that they use to be really comfortable. It's really stretchy, but it has great return on the stretch. And that matters a lot to me. I don't want it to feel like my underwear is bagging out and sagging off of me by the end of the day. And this never feels like that. It always feels like it's tight on me like it was when I put it on at the beginning of the day, but there's a lot of softness in the stretch and in the elastic, and that's great. Because these are so high cut, I don't have any problems with like squeezing or pinching around my thighs. Like they fit beautifully and they look great and the fit feels good. The only thing with this is they're just not entirely full coverage. This is the most full coverage pair that Knickey makes. They also make a pair that's less high rise, and then they make a pair that's more of a hipster, like more cheeky, but this is their brief. This is like the most coverage you can get out of them, and it's just not enough for me. I put them on and I love the way that I feel, and then I start moving around and it just starts inching and riding ever so slightly up. If they would make this exact pair with this super high rise and just like more fabric, like 2 inches more fabric on the back, then that would be perfect. I would absolutely love that. But as it is, this isn't, even though I really liked these when I first started trying them because I was so amazed by how comfortable the fabric is and how high rise they are. And I really love the colors and everything. Even though that's true, this didn't end up being like my perfect dream pair of full coverage underwear. There just isn't quite enough coverage for me. If you kind of want what I want, like if you're kind of looking for what I'm looking for, especially the high rise, but you are like living in fear of anything looking like anything that could remotely in anyone's wildest dreams ever be called a granny panty. Like if you feel about a granny panty the way I feel about a mullet, if you just feel like it might be cute for you, but it's not for me, and you just don't want to touch anything that's vaguely considered a granny panty with like a 50-foot pole, if that's you, then in the realm of more comfortable, more high-rise, more full coverage underwear, Knickey is the one that I would point you to, because they are just ever so slightly cheeky instead of being full coverage, they do totally avoid that granny panty look. But for me, that means that they don't have that comfort that comes from knowing that it's not going to ride up, which is what I'm looking for. Basically, I'm looking for a granny panty. But if you're not, then maybe consider Knickey, because I do think that they're a really great brand. And a little bit more about them. They also recently came out with bras, and they sent one to me. I bought underwear from them myself. All of this underwear I purchased myself. And I originally purchased some pairs from Knickey myself. And then I talked about them on YouTube, and then they sent me a couple of pieces after that. And this bra is one of the things that they sent me. It's in a color that they make that I really love. It's called Beach Bum. It's like an off-white. And this is also a very utilitarian bra. It's not the prettiest posy in the bunch. You know what I mean? It looks it's like kind of chunky and thick the way that it's sewn. The band is really thick, and it's just very like cottony and utilitarian. When I first opened it, frankly, I was a little bit disappointed. I was like, wow, this really looks like it's just designed to do the task. It doesn't really have a sexiness about it. It doesn't even have that kind of sexiness that can come from things that are minimalist or that are utilitarian. But I wear it all the time because it's really comfortable. I have found myself wearing this every time it's clean. Like I'll wear it a bunch of times. And then if it gets dirty, as soon as I wash it when it's clean again, I start wearing it again. So even though I thought I was going to be disappointed by this bra, Knickey, it turns out, really knows what they're doing in terms of bras. So I definitely give this my stamp of approval too. This video isn't about bras. I could make a whole video about bras if you want me to, but I just wanted to mention this in passing because we were talking about Knickey. Lastly, I'm just going to measure my mediums really quickly because I have them here. I'm going to measure them with a measuring tape. They go down to an XXS and they go up to an XXXL. Unstretched, the waistband is 13 inches. And it stretches almost all the way to 20 inches, which is great. That's a lot of stretch. I'm measuring flat, by the way. It's 13 inches flat. So that would be 26 inches around. And then the leg opening on these is like 11.5 inches. But again, I don't think the leg opening is going to be a problem on these Knickey briefs because they're so high cut. But the leg opening is also really stretchy. It stretches past the 16-inch mark. This color is called Butterscotch. It's my favorite color that Knickey makes. Okay, moving on. And we're actually going in the order in which I tried this underwear. So I tried the Knickey underwear like forever ago last year. I mean, I talked about it forever ago. If you watch my channel, you know that. I loved it, but as time wore on, I realized I was looking for more full coverage. So then I started the actual search. And the next thing that I got was a pack of underwear from Felina, which is like this, like just run-of-the-mill brand. Like they sell at Costco, they sell on Amazon. This I would pretty much considered to be fast fashion. And I was looking and looking, and it was just, for a while, I just couldn't bring myself to invest. You know, I was feeling kind of like I was in austerity mode, and I was like, maybe I just need to go for another pack of full coverage underwear from Felina like I had before, even though the reason I was having to buy underwear again was because they had all worn out completely in kind of a short time. I don't know if you can tell, but I already kind of regret buying this pack, but I'm going to go ahead and review it for you anyway, because if you are experiencing what I'm experiencing, maybe you're ping-ponging as well and being like, should I find a really nice brand and invest in, you know, an independent, sustainably made handful of underwear, or should I just get this, whatever it was, like 8-pack for $40 or something from Amazon. So this is that. This is the Felina cotton modal style C4579. First of all, I liked the colors that were in the pack online, and then I got the colors and they were all different. So that was a real bummer to begin with. Here's what they look like, right? You can see much more full coverage than the Knickey ones. I'll show them to you. So here I've pretty much lined them up at the crotch. So you can see that this Felina pair has like a full 2 or more inches of coverage on either side than the Knickey pair. And then looking at the back, you can see that the Knickey pair goes several more inches higher than this pair from Felina. So what I want is the high rise of the Knickey with the coverage, the butt coverage on the sides of this pair from Felina. And I don't know if you could see when I was holding them up, but they're also just smaller all around than the pair from Knickey. I got a medium and they feel kind of small, even though they're soft. The fabric is kind of thin, just feels cheap. They're, you know, relatively stretchy, but they just feel kind of like they cut in. It's not uncomfortable because the elastic is soft, but they like cut into my flesh, and I just don't like that look and I don't like that feel. I got them, I started wearing them to test them, and then I kind of like immediately regretted even trying them. And it's partly because, I mean, the coverage is fine. Like the coverage on the sides is actually fine. It's just that the overall fit, it has the discomfort of something that's a little bit ill-designed. So I don't particularly love these, even though I have ended up continuing to wear them, which I'll discuss at the end. Okay, so the waistband on these is 11.5 inches, and they're not as high rise as the pair from Knickey, which was 13 inches. So they're much smaller all around. And it only stretches to about 17, whereas the ones from Knickey stretched almost to 20. The leg opening is not even 9 inches. It's like well over 8 inches, but not quite to 9 inches. And stretches to a little over 13. So yeah, a little small around. If I was gonna go all in with these Felina underwear, I would get them in a size large, or maybe even an extra large. Like if I really wanted them to be as comfortable as some of these other pairs, fine, I'm fine with that. Like I'm fine with wearing a size large or extra large. It's just in my experience across the board with clothing, I'm almost always a medium in this kind of thing. So that makes me think that these run pretty small. On Amazon, which is where I purchased these, they only go up to a size extra large and they only go down to a size small. So these definitely aren't size inclusive either. Okay, moving on from those ones from Felina. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Hashtag regrets. These are from Jockey. I was like, I gotta try one sort of like classic old school straight up brand, and I picked Jockey. So this is the Jockey Elance brief, or Elance. I see this and I feel like it's Elance, but I can't imagine that Jockey is thinking that we should be pronouncing this underwear Elance. They probably think it's Elance or Elance. So it's the Jockey Elance Breathe brief. I think that it's called Breathe because it's modal and it's got these like pinstripes on it, which I actually really like. I feel like it makes it look more high-end. Modal is a really breathable, natural fiber. It's a nice fiber to make jersey fabric. I've learned over the course of this that I prefer cotton for underwear. Like I really just want straight cotton. It feels a little flimsier than cotton. You can see how much thinner it is and how much more of a drape it has. I do like that sturdiness of cotton jersey, and so that's what I'm gonna be looking for going forward. But these really, really surprised me in a number of ways. First of all, when I got them, I was pleasantly surprised by how nice they look because of this like pinstriping. I really like that. I feel like, again, they do kind of look like they could have been designed by an expensive, like minimalist undergarments brand, especially because of the pack I got. It's this color and then like a white and a black. And they all just look really nice, especially for Jockey. I wasn't expecting that. But then when I put them on, I was unpleasantly surprised because the leg holes on these are so tight. There's like thick elastic sewn into the seam around the leg holes. And I put them on and they were like holding on to my thighs, like not pinching. It's not uncomfortable because the elastic has a soft tension. You know what I mean? They weren't like cutting in and cutting off circulation or something, but they were definitely making an indentation, not like leaving an indentation behind, not that tight, but they were just indenting my flesh. You know what I mean? The elastic, it's like if you put a hairband like around the slightly fleshy part of your arm and it just pushes in a little bit. You know what I mean? I've never had underwear that was that tight around like the leg and butt. They're not too small for me because they fit perfectly everywhere else. They're high rise, really lovely. In fact, I feel like if I sized up, there would be too much fabric. And then they're just tight on the legs. So we put them on and I was like, oh, no, this won't do. But then I wore them around and a magical thing happened, which is that I completely forgot that I had them on because they were just staying in one place all day. They never ride up. This is the thing that I've learned. If you want underwear to truly not budge, to like go on your body and just stay, it has to be like tighter on the legs like that. Full coverage underwear, I'm saying. At least for me, like this has been kind of like the surprise hit. And these really tight elastic leg holes are like the secret to their success because I put them on and even though they're a little bit tight, like underneath my butt, right around the upper part of my thigh, they just stay there all day. They don't budge anywhere because they're too tight. They're too tight to move. They're like very secure. The fact that the silhouette isn't like totally smooth on me is like a really small price to pay for how incredibly comfortable they are because they just don't go anywhere. And I've found myself wearing these a lot, maybe an acquired taste or maybe a specific taste. Like I feel like if I several months ago before I had gone through all this was watching someone talk about this and watching someone describe this like tight leg situation, I would be like, no ma'am. I would be like, no thank you, no bye-bye. And I thought I wasn't gonna be into it when I first tried them on and I saw what they were doing. But I'm telling you, there's nothing like a tight leg hole on a pair of underwear for keeping it from just bunching up and going up your butt, which is what underwear has been doing to me my whole life. Okay, so the elastic is 13 inches at the waist, just like the ones from Knickey, and stretches all the way to 20, just like the ones from Knickey. The leg hole, so this is really small compared to the ones from Knickey. It's only 9 inches for the leg hole, that tight elastic, and then it stretches only to 15. They do look very utilitarian on, you know what I mean? They look a little bit like the bottom half of a vintage swimsuit, but not even quite as cute as that. They look quite utilitarian. Because of the pinstriping and the delicate fabric, they don't really read granny panty like too hard, you know, like maybe a little bit in between. I don't feel like I'm my most sensual and alluring when I'm wearing them, but I also don't feel like, don't look at me. You know what I mean? Like I can when I'm getting dressed in the morning, I can kind of like prance around in those for a second. And if Joe peeps me, it's kind of like, hi, you know, it's not like, oh gosh, I'm wearing my just like utilitarian underwear, don't look at me, you know, which I actually do kind of feel like not like, don't look at me, you know, we're fine, it's fine. But I do kind of feel like that in the Felina ones. The Felina ones feel very uncute. And so I actually feel like the Jockeys are a step above because they have a little something about them. Like, even though it's kind of a weird thing, they still have a little bit of je ne sais quoi, IMHO. Okay, let's talk about Skims. So I was on this search for the best full coverage underwear, and along the way I came across Skims, which is Kim Kardashian's brand. There is a cotton jersey brief by Skims that's called the Full Brief, but I can just see from looking that it's not full coverage. It's their full brief, but just butt cheeks are hanging out left and right on the website. You're seeing a lot on either side of actual bottom. So it's not really a full coverage brief. But what they do have is a boy short a pretty slim silhouette of a boy short. So it's not like a boxer short that goes halfway down the thigh. It basically, they're calling it a boy short, but it's actually a full coverage pair of underwear. So that's what I decided to try. This is the pair that I have. This is what it looks like. Do you see this wiggly stuff, wiggly business? Now, I used to make clothing for a living. I used to make tango clothes. I worked with stretchy fabric, and I know exactly what's going on here. The reason that we're seeing this like wiggly lettuce edged hem, like this hem here, the reason for that is that they want it to be really, really stretchy. So actually, let's go ahead and measure. So the Skims boy short in a size medium is about 11.5 inches at the waist, unstretched, and it stretches to like over 20. It like stretches for days. It's way stretchier than even the one from Knickey, because remember the waistband of the Knickey one was 13 and stretched to 20. This is 11 and stretches to 20. So the waistband of this is stretchier than anything we've looked at so far. And that does make it really comfortable. I completely understand why they did that. But when they serged this edge, the tension was set so that a bunch of the fabric, that's the thread that, how can I describe this? In order to hem the waistband of this underwear, and they didn't add another piece of fabric. Like on Knickey here, there's this elastic edging here that's added to the fabric. This one from Skims, they've just folded over the edge. Do you see that? It's just the fabric folded over on itself and then sewn. And so in order to make sure that folded over edge that's sewed down with thread will stretch for days, they've used a thread that's stretchy, and then they've sewn many, many, many stitches per square centimeter or per square inch, so that when the fabric stretches, none of those stitches will pop. Because if there are tons of stitches that are really close together, the stitches can like expand like an accordion when the fabric stretches without popping. Whereas if there are fewer stitches per square inch, then if you stretch the fabric too much, the thread will break. And that's what you'll get to like a limit where you can tell you can't stretch it anymore. And if you stretch it more than that, the thread will break. So if you put so much thread per square inch, like really, really packed close together, and you have like a flimsy material instead of an elastic, then you get this wiggly thing that's going on the hems of these Skims. And I don't think that it's like a bad thing. It's not like it's terribly designed or like someone made a mistake or something. It's just that they've sacrificed like the overall aesthetic. They've sacrificed like, I feel like a level of niceness so that it'll be really, really stretchy. And there's something to be said for that, because the stretchier it is, the more size versatile it is, the more comfortable it is. Yeah, it's just not my favorite choice that anyone's ever made, because it looked like this right out of the bag. Like this is just what it looks like. Even if you look at like the product shots on Skims or on Nordstrom's, you can see it looking like this. And because it wiggles and then the seam turns inside out, like you can see that the seam is flipped inside out right there. And so I just look at this and I'm like, I don't trust that to like lay flat against my body and be comfortable. And it certainly doesn't feel high end. And it's not super inexpensive. It's not the most expensive underwear ever, but like one pair of boy shorts from Skims is $22. Oh my gosh, I haven't even been talking about price this whole time, have I? All right, when I'm editing this, I'll put the prices on the screen. So hopefully at this point in the video, you at least know what the prices are. But let's quickly revisit them. So the Knickey briefs are $14, which to me is a great price, especially for a sustainable brand, organic cotton. That's fantastic. The Felina underwear was an 8-pack for I think around $40. It might have been a little more, a little less. I think the price changes a lot, but these came out to about $5 per pair. I feel like it's still not even worth it. The Jockeys were a 3-pack for $27. So it comes out to a little less than $10 a pair, which at this point in my experience with these, I actually feel like is worth it for me. And then the Skims are $22 a pair, which is, you know, twice as much as the Jockeys and way more than this underwear from Knickey. And I have found them to be, in spite of the fact that they're definitely full coverage, when I put these on, they're really stretchy. The fabric is wonderful. The fabric of Skims is just wonderful. I've tried a couple of things from Skims, and I think I'm gonna do a full review of everything I've tried from them at some point in the near future. But you know, you can't fault the fabrics and the colors. It's just just absolutely beautiful. The feeling of the fabric is really, really lovely. It's incredibly stretchy, and I love that they've prioritized that. I put them on and they fit well right on the body and they feel good. And then they just start riding up. I mean, I just don't think that these seams of like folded over and intensely sewn edging is enough. It's not tight enough. It's like the opposite of the Jockeys. They're just not tight enough to hold on to my legs, my thighs, my legs, the place where they're supposed to be. And because they're boy shorts, there's like a little extra fabric. And so it all rides up and there's so much of it and it's so uncomfortable. I actually can't really wear these around, like underneath my clothes, underneath the dresses and stuff. They are really great for sleeping, I've found, because I don't toss and turn all that much and I don't actually mind it as much. I don't feel like I need to like, you know, readjust my underwear when I'm sleeping. I do feel cute in these. Like I really like the way that they fit and feel. I put them on and they feel kind of sensual and stretchy and chic. And so I am wearing them. I'm like wearing them as sleep briefs, sleep underwear. But this is out of all of this underwear here, this is the only pair that I like can't wear in the everyday because they're just too uncomfortable. They just don't stay put. I realized I measured the waistband, but I didn't measure the leg opening. It's about 9.5 inches, the leg opening, and it stretches for days. It stretches like all the way to 17. Okay, lastly, let's talk about Arc. Y'all. Y'all, I love them. I love this underwear. So Arc is another small, independently owned brand. They also use organic cotton, sustainable. They say on their website they contract with a family-owned US factory that they're really proud to partner with. And they make these beautiful and I know kind of gigantic looking pairs of underwear. Jockey, it looks like, goes up to a size 11, which they say is equivalent to a 5X. Jockey actually doesn't go that small though. I think that I have a 6, which I think is supposed to be the equivalent to a medium. Yeah, the pair that fits me, a medium, is size 6, and they only go down to a 5. So it looks like they don't even go down to a size extra small. So that's too bad. But Skims does. They go down to XXS and they go up to 4X. And again, my experience of them is that they're very, very stretchy, all of the clothes. So that means that there's even potential for size inclusivity beyond what they say. Like I feel like these, even though they're really uncomfortable to wear on me, I feel like I could wear a small in them and they would still fit probably the same as these because they're so incredibly stretchy, you know? Arc goes up to a 6X. So that's the best of all of them. That's better than Knickey, better than Skims, better than Jockey. I also have extra size information about Arc because I went back and got a second size. These are the mediums. And they fit beautifully. They fit beautifully. They're full coverage. I'll put pictures, just as I hopefully have been doing this entire time, I'll put pictures of models. This is part of why, I mean, partly I didn't want to put pictures of myself wearing underwear all over the internet, but also I'm just one person, you know what I mean? I feel like it does more of a service to show pictures of different bodies wearing the underwear that I'm talking about, and then just to tell you what my experience was like with them in real life. So I'll put pictures of people wearing Arc up on the screen, and you'll be able to see that they're pretty full coverage. And to me, it's enough. These, I don't find myself having to adjust them. I love the way that they feel in terms of the coverage. It's on par with the pair from Jockey, although the elastic around the legs isn't as tight as it is with Jockey. So when I'm moving around doing stuff during the day, they do shift a little bit. Like sometimes I have to readjust them a little bit. One of the things I've learned from this experience is that the only way to get underwear that totally doesn't budge on me is to have the elastic around the leg be really tight. And the elastic around the leg on these isn't really tight. In fact, it's not even elastic. It's like they've folded over more of the fabric and sewn it, kind of like with Skims, but they've done a much, much better job. It looks a lot more polished and feels a lot more sturdy than that wavy lettuce edge waistband that they've gotten on Skims. But because it doesn't have like extra elastic compressing. It's a very soft hold on the leg, and that's really comfortable. And because of the cut of the underwear, it's nice and full coverage. It's just really, really, really lovely and comfortable to wear. It looks and feels like nothing so much as a vintage bikini bottom. It really does look like that. And I think it's really cute. They're also incredibly high rise, like very, very, very high rise as the ones from Knickey. They really do check all of my boxes in almost every way. The only thing about them is that they're so chunky, like they're so hefty. The waistband, the fact that they folded over extra fabric to get that nice stretchy but sort of soft hold on the waist, it also means that it's not sleek. You know what I mean? You feel like you're wearing like a garment. Not as much as I was worried it would be from the pictures. I've actually had my eye on this brand for a while, and I never bought them because I always looked at the pictures and I was like, it really looks like a garment, like a pair of sweatpants or something made into underwear. It just didn't look like something that would sort of disappear underneath clothing. And I was worried that it would be too thick and chunky for me. The waistbands would be too thick and chunky. That was what turned me off. Then I finally bit the bullet and I decided to try it because of this video. And when I got this pair and put it on, I was surprised at how lightweight and sleek and comfortable it felt, and how much I definitely felt like I could wear it underneath like dresses and even pants. Because they're so high rise, if I'm wearing them with pants, unless the pant is very high rise, the waistband shows. Sometimes I'm wearing sweatpants and there's like several inches of the waistband above the waistband of my pant. It's kind of cute, especially if I'm wearing like the matching tank and these, and like you can see like 2 inches of the underwear above the waistband of my pant. I've done that like a number of times and it's kind of cute, so I don't mind. It's just that these aren't an option. If I'm trying to put together like a sleek outfit and I don't want the waistband showing and I'm wearing pants and the pants aren't high-waisted enough to cover the waist of these. That's the only situation. And there are a number of situations actually in which I'm like, oh, because of what I'm wearing, I can't wear my ARC underwear today. Sometimes it's because the waistband's so high. Sometimes it's because the seam is so thick and sturdy and it will like show through whatever I'm wearing. So they don't work for absolutely everything. But whatever they do work for, I'm wearing them for that. So this is a size medium. The waistband is only 12 inches instead of the 13 of Knickey, and they're as high rise as Knickey. That's probably one of the things I like about the way they feel. I like the feeling that they're like snug on my waist, but without cutting in at all, because again, the hold is very soft. They stretch to 19 inches, so not quite as stretchy as the ones that have elastic. And then the leg opening unstretched is about 10 and a half. And it stretches to about 15. These, I got them and they were really great, but they almost felt, the mediums, they fit perfectly, but they almost felt like there was a little bit of too much fabric, like just a little bit. I just started getting curious about what a small would fit like on me. And that's, unheard of for me to wear a size small in underwear. I've got too much going on back there. But because it's like the style is so different from other things I've tried and the brand is different and the way it's constructed is different, I was like, maybe they run a little bit big and I should try a small. So I got this pair in a small. How beautiful is this? That's the other thing about ARC. The colors are so amazing. Most of what they do is solids. I just really like this leopard print, so that was what I got first. But then I went and got this, and oh my gosh, I got the matching tank in this too, because I can't with this color. This is like my favorite, absolute favorite. This color is called Toffee. It's called Toffee. So these, let's measure them. These are the smalls. The waistband's only a tiny bit smaller. It's like just shy of the 11 inches that the other one was just over. And it only stretches to 16. It's just a little bit smaller than the other pair. And the leg opening is about 10, whereas I think the other ones were like 10 and a half, and it only stretches to about 14. So they're just like, it's like half an inch to an inch smaller all around in terms of the stretch. And here's the thing. These do fit me. They actually do fit. And I think that if I weren't so focused on comfort, if I weren't so obsessed with just feeling like so comfortable all the time in my underwear and in my clothes, this would probably be the proper size for me. And if you're interested in ARC and you're kind of on the edge, if you truly like sometimes take a small and sometimes take a medium, if you're like half and half, definitely size down. I think if I continue to purchase from ARC, I'll probably go for the mediums, because overall, I just like that feeling of slipping into something that's not squeezing me at all. But I will continue to wear these. and they're absolutely fine. I think there's an argument for them even being a tiny bit better because they have more hold around like the legs and the waist. If I were able to get from Arc like a pair of underwear that had the silhouette of these in terms of how much fabric there was, but the leg holes were the size of these, like smaller, so they held on to my legs more strongly like the Jockeys, those would be my perfect underwear from Arc. But given that they only make this small and this medium, they're both perfectly fine. And I just like the ones that are a little bit roomier, a little bit better. But that's the information that I feel like is really important to impart from Arc, because I mean, you know, it's the Felinas, I'm like over here thinking I should order an extra large if I ever buy them again. And over here at Arc, I'm fitting into a small. I mean, sizing is completely arbitrary and a total lie, but I have never worn a small pair of underwear in my life. Take that along with everything else I've said about this brand and apply it to your future decision making. This is like a granny panty, you know what I mean? But in the most wonderful way possible and the most modern way possible. Like it really feels special and wonderful to wear them. And they just feel kind of fashion to me actually in their own way. I really, really love wearing them around. I love wearing the set. And I'm finding myself wanting to wear the set to bed a lot. And sometimes what I'll do is I'll like wear the set to bed. And then when I wake up in the morning, I'll just put pants on over the underwear and wear that for a while. And sometimes I put the set on to go about my day, like I am today with the tank top and the underwear. And then at night, I'll just go to sleep in that, you know, like I just find I want to wear them for sleep. And it's just like the perfect loungewear. I want to wear them all the time. I love it so much. And I will say also about the tank top, in case you are interested in the entire set, weirdly, because I found the underwear to run a little bit big, I found the tank top to run quite small. I think that they designed this tank to be really tight, like a sports bra. The idea is that you can like wear it and not wear a bra, and they want it to work that way for people of all different sizes. If you want to wear it as a tank instead of as like a tight, supportive garment, then you should size up. And I actually ended up sizing up to a large. I originally got a medium just to test it. And the medium was like, and usually I wear a small in tops actually. So I thought I was going to be generous. I saw how tight the tops looked on the models. And I was like, I definitely want to size up. So I sized up from what I thought I would be and from what their size chart said I would be, which is a small, to a medium. And the medium that I got it's still wearable, but it's really tight under the arms, and I don't like that. And it's really snug on the waist. I like this one because it sits kind of like gently on the flesh underneath my arm rather than squeezing in there. And it sits kind of like in a casual way on my waist rather than sticking skin tight to my waist, which, as you'll see in the pictures from the website, the models wearing the tanks, they're wearing them skin tight. So I had to go up 2 sizes to a large to get this more relaxed fit. And I was able to go 1 size down for the underwear. So I usually wear a small and a top and a medium on bottom. And theoretically in Arc, I'm wearing a small on bottom and a large in the tank top. Let's recap. Final thoughts. The thing that's great is that all of these pairs are staying in my underwear drawer for now. Even the Skims, because again, I'm able to wear them to bed. None of these is so uncomfortable that it's unsustainable for me to wear. Like none of them is so uncomfortable that I had to return them or give them away, which is amazing because a lot of underwear is. Like I have tried underwear before where I put it on the first day and I'm just like, I genuinely cannot wear this. It's so ill-fitting. It's all up in my business. It's sliding all over the place. And it's amazing that I tried 5 underwears from 5 brands and none of them were like that for me. So that's good. The ones from Arc, which are my absolute favorites because of the comfort and the styling and the overall vibe, they don't work for every single outfit because they're so hefty and they're so high rise. These weird underwears from Jockey actually do win for overall stability, reliability, coverage, and staying put. And then the price that I pay for that is that these leg holes are like really tight on me. But I found that that's the price that one does have to pay, I think, for the thing that I want. If you aren't as obsessed with full coverage as I am, then I really recommend Knickey. I love the feel of these and I love the finishing on them and the color. The price is really great on these too. This reminds me that I didn't talk about the price of the Arc undies, but I think they're $28. Yeah, they're $28. That's another reason why I was loath to try them for such a long time. But now that I have tried them, I feel like they're a steal. And then, you know, the Felinas, sizing small, fabric thin, overall quality low. I still grab them from time to time to wear when I don't have like another option that's clean. And, you know, they will work underneath pants sometimes when these don't work. I feel like the best thing that I can say for them in this context is that they don't have a bulky profile. Even though the Skims came underneath them in terms of comfort, they're still the bottom of the pile for me. They're like the least special. Okay, that has got to be it, you guys. I feel like I've been talking about underwear for a really long time, but the question remains, was I successful in my search for the best full coverage underwear? And the answer I feel like is kind of yes and no, because I feel like this was a real find. Like I love Arc. I'm really glad that I found these. I feel like I'm gonna be wearing them forever. I love having this set. And I feel like many of my underwear needs are taken care of by Arc. And, you know, I can't buy a whole bunch of them all at once because they're $28. So I can't go like replacing my entire drawer of underwear just with Arc. But I think what I'm going to be doing is like collecting a pair here and a pair there over time. And I would like it if I had more than just these two. I would like to have a selection. I'd like to be able to have a clean pair anytime I wanted to wear them. But they don't serve my every single full coverage underwear need. I feel like I also need something that has a little bit slimmer of a profile, something a little bit more innocuous to wear underneath jeans and, you know, certain kinds of pants and stuff like that. And for that, I can use the Jockeys. And so maybe between the Jockeys and the Arcs, I have met my full coverage underwear needs, but I am kind of curious to know if there's anything else out there that might actually check all of my boxes all at once. I'm just curious. So, you know, if now that you've watched this whole video, which if you're still here, goodness gracious, thank you. Now that you know what my needs are and what my tastes are, if you know of anything, like a brand that makes underwear that you think would check my boxes, kind of like a cross between the Arc and the Jockey, like anything like that, let me know. And if there are actually 5 more companies, I could try 5 more and then I could come back and do a second round of this. For now, I'm totally fine. I don't feel like I don't have underwear that fits anymore. I actually really love some of this and it's really exciting, but I am going to remain curious about what's out there on the market. I'm glad that there's been such a resurgence in this style of underwear. I'm so glad that there are companies like Arc out there who are prioritizing the comfort of our bodies as well as the way that we look in our underwear. And I'm so glad that there are all of these high-rise styles on the market. I hope that this was helpful for you. I meant it to be kind of organized and then I feel like it became a bit disorganized. It's been kind of a chaotic week for me over here. But I hope that you were able to get something out of this. I really appreciate you for being here. And I really hope you're remembering to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.